Raise your hands if at some point in your life you can look back, look at a book or a product or a course and say that in some way that has changed your life in a positive way. Is there anyone out there whose life's been changed? Okay. Obviously look around about everyone. Next thing I want you to do is raise your hand if anyone's life has been positively affected or changed by a 5-part series on mortgage rates. Anyone? What about a credit card review? What about, you're searching on Google, you're sitting down, you try to find something you're interested in, you go over to your website, and you're like, wow. You're like, honey, come here, look at this, look at this. This AdSense block is amazing. Anyone have that experience? There we go, Pete. I want to challenge us today, if I can get the slides to work. My main takeaway is, as a community, we can be doing better. I'm very proud to be part of the personal finance blogging community. Got my start here. I'm proud to call you guys all friends, but I think that we are mediocre and we have the potential to be great. And another tip, when I was looking at my tips, like 9 tips for public speaking, was to reinforce your main point here with pictures. So I thought, I'm coming to Chicago, I need to put some pictures on my main point, I don't know what to do, so I thought, we are mediocre. And we have the potential, though. We have the potential to be great. Alright. So over the next 45 minutes as we talked, hopefully I'm going to make 2 points to you guys. I want to equip you with the tools to launch a product of your own. Obviously, what good am I up here if I'm not giving you the tools and the formula that I use to create a product? But also, and more importantly, I want to incite you to actually create it. Because if I give you the tools and I list off all these softwares and things I use in this process I use for creation, it won't matter at the end of the day unless you're incited to actually go out and create it. Reallocate some of your time away from your blogs to create a product, because that's what it takes. So those are my 2 goals. First, who the heck is Baker? PT already introduced me, so we'll fly through this. First and foremost, I'm a husband and father. Most of you have met my family on the road. That's my beautiful wife, Courtney, and our daughter, who looks like she's sitting on something sharp in that picture, but Milligan. For those of you that know my story, especially over the last few months, we're expecting again in April, so we're very happy about that. 3 years ago, before I knew what Twitter was, before I knew what WordPress was, before I knew a single soul in this room, Courtney and I sat down at the kitchen table the second night after we had come home from the hospital with Milligan and decided that we needed to change our financial life. We realized that we were living the financial life that we were making fun of our peers for living. So that was kind of a slap in the face for us. We decided to sell everything we owned. We only had an apartment. We didn't have a house. Even though I owned a real estate company, we had avoided buying a house, which I just consider luck. We sold all of our things, down to 2 backpacks, paid off $18,000 in consumer debt, and decided to spend a year in Australia. Most of you know the story. We didn't spend a year in Australia, but we did spend 7 months in New Zealand, went to Thailand, came back, toured the U.S. in an RV, met many of you guys. Now Man vs. Debt has 2 full-time employees, which I'm very happy about this year, and fully supports my family. So that's, in a nutshell, what my journey has been. Product launches, and don't you dare boo me. I'm doing a thing on product launches, so I have to talk about it. On Automate Your Finances was my first one, $17 ebook. Most of you, or many of you, helped support that. Sell Your Crap is still available. $47 price point. We'll talk about price points here as we go. So I got more specific, and we'll talk about that, and I got into a higher price point. Very successful product in my terms. Many people have launched products much bigger than that, but for me, very successful product. Only 72 is a business sale that I have on the side. We've done 2 sales, 6 days total, over $300,000 in revenue. So it's a very profitable side business for me that's based completely around networking and product launching. And recently, you guys have probably got spammy emails from me about You versus Debt, which is my latest product, and that has come out. So I've done some launches, and PT called me a pro, but really I've just screwed up enough in order to be able to give this talk. So I've just done enough things wrong to be able to know what I'm doing. Your life-changing product is going to be 3 parts. We're going to start by talking about get an awesome idea. All right, we all need to get an awesome idea to start. If you don't have an awesome idea, you might as well not start. Then we have to create the damn thing. That's how I view the creation process. How many of you guys love writing? Anybody love writing? Good. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. So creating for me is a tough part of the process. And then we need to sell some copies, right? If we don't sell some copies, unless you're creating it as a free giveaway, which you can, that's great, and I think you should allocate your time in that way. Most of us want to sell some copies so we can replace the income from those ugly AdSense blocks. So let's get an awesome idea. There's 3 things I do. Can I get some water, please? Amateur, I need some water, someone. Thank you. Get an awesome idea. First, I want to start by asking yourself. So this is the self-reflection time when we all think, what do we want to do when we grow up? I like to tell people when I do some consulting that imagine you're at a cocktail party. So if you guys have pen and paper or you have your laptops up, I actually want you to do this exercise if you've never done it before. You're at a super swanky party like the party last night, right, with the Ferrari outside, and a stranger comes up to ask you the most annoying question ever. What do you do? So I want you to write down on your piece of paper, how do you answer that question? Go ahead and write it. This is for real. The answer depends for me. If I don't want to talk to the person, I usually say I run websites, right? That's easy. If I want to talk, maybe I say I'm an author or a blogger, because then they ask what you do. But not to each other, because we're all in the same community. So if a stranger comes up and asks you what do you do, how do you answer that? All right? Second part is, how does that make you feel? Let's be touchy-feely for a second. How does that make you feel? Do you like it? Does it make you feel empowered? Does it make you feel disgusted? Does it make you feel whatever? How does it make you feel? Lastly, on the piece of paper, I want you to write, 1 year from today, how do you want to answer this question? How do you want to be able to answer this question? Thanks, man. Fancy glass. All right. Now you have the answer to that. I want to show you this Venn diagram. It's been published in various different ways, but I came up with these names because I like them. But what we're going to look at is we're going to try to find the intersection of what we're good at, what we're passionate about, and what will people pay money for. Now for us, this can be inside the personal finance niche. But for you, if you aren't sure where your niche falls, obviously I'm personal finance, but I also go into a couple of different niches. So I do this every time I want to explore a new opportunity. So if we only do what we're good at and what we're passionate about, we're broke, right? If we do what we're good at and what people pay for, that'll work for a while before we burn out. We've all been there. If we do what we're passionate about and what people pay for, but we're not good at it, someone's going to call us out. Someone's going to say, wait a second, this guy sucks, and we're going to get busted. All right? So the sweet spot, as you can see, is that really dark negative area right between broke, burnout, and busted. And if you can find that area, on the verge of broke, burnout, and busted, that's where your awesome idea is going to lie, or at least it has for me. So if you want to do this exercise to help you expand upon this, just write down these 3 categories. What are you good at? What are you passionate about? What people pay for? Look for places that overlap among all 3 of these. What you're good at, a lot of us can't identify what we're good at, so what do people regularly compliment you on? If you had 5 minutes and you had to help me in one area of my business or life, how would you help me? Only 5 minutes, you had to help me. Those are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself to figure out what you're good at, and what you're passionate about. You should probably have a better idea about that, what people pay money for. We'll get into that in a second. After you ask yourself, what do you want to do? Figure out your Venn diagram there of what you're good at. I want you to ask your tribe. And this is the #1 way that I do it. It's even better than asking myself because I have no idea what I want to do. But my readers have a very good idea of what they want if I survey them in the right way. All right? So when I'm going to survey our readers or our customers, it's always better to survey paying customers than readers, if you have that option. So if you're creating a new product, ask your paying members what they want, not your general members what they want. 3 things. We use WooFoo, but it doesn't matter. It's always the first question. What survey thing do you use? It doesn't matter, but we use WooFoo. You can use SurveyMonkey, which I think they're the same company now, or Google Forms. It doesn't matter. The point is to actually survey your readers. Your whole goal in this is you want your audience, you want your audience to stimulate specific answers in their own words. And I think that's supposed to say you want to stimulate your audience to answer specific questions in their own words. But you need to practice surveying so that you can get your questions down so that they're very specific and that you can understand what words your readers or your customers are actually using. Right? The #1 way I do that is what's the #1 blah, blah, blah. So if any of you are on my list or follow my blog or take any of my surveys, I use this over and over and over again. What's the #1 problem right now that you're struggling with debt? What's the #1 hurdle that's standing between you and a debt-free lifestyle? What's the #1 thing you like most about week 1? What's the #1, so you want to, what's the top 3 things, what are the top 3 words that you would use to describe man versus debt? Don't literally say them, but that's the kind of questions that you want to ask your readers so you can understand what your brand is, what they want, what their issues are, in their own words. All right? So you're going to ask your tribe after you look inside, you ask yourself. Getting an awesome idea. After you ask yourself and ask your tribe, you want to ask the world. See what's already working. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You need to model bloggers you respect. Notice I said model, not rip off, not copy, not plagiarize. It's a gray line. We all understand the gray line between copy and emulation and modeling. All right, modeling is good, emulation is bad. Check Amazon bestsellers list. This is a tip for people that launch products that's been passed down forever. Find out what books are selling. Go to the dummies guides and sort by most popular dummies guides, most popular idiots guides. Here are books that are built to teach specific things. Find out which are the best sellers. Find out which have the biggest markets. You can do that inside of finance. If you go to Amazon, look at the different financial books that have done well or are doing well. Look for specific niches. Then also, be on the lookout for great ideas and ways that you can spend them. We heard from Daily Worth yesterday. Was anybody in that talk with Amanda, the breakout session? She's great, right? They have 150,000 subscribers now. 95% women, I think she said. So daily email. Where's the daily finance email for men? Is there one? All right, I'll take that as a no. So this is how you can look to someone for an awesome idea, ask the world, find a good idea that's already out in the world, and then make it your own. So that was just one example I came up with when I was listening to Amanda yesterday. After we found our idea, we need to niche it down. This is very important. We have to make it our own. We have to tell our audience what problem we're going to solve. The whole focus. What problem are you solving? And then you have to go around and solve it. Right? We want to be specific. The more specific the problem that you can solve, the better. We want to be emotional. The more emotional problem you can solve, the easier time you're going to have selling, and the more impact you're going to have in people's lives. Just period. If you're doing entertainment, if you're keeping up with the news, oh look, they changed this interest rate, or they changed that. I mean, that can be an avenue to get page views, but you're going to have a hard time changing people's lives in that way. You want to do something that's emotional, not something that's entertainment-based or news-based. And you want to know exactly who you are targeting. So you've got to ask yourself, I'm not trying to revolutionize the way that Americans check their financial life and make them have more sustainable habits. I mean, you need to be very narrow about what you're doing. So I like to joke that I help young families or young couples and young families that can already help themselves. All right? And that used to be a joke, but now it's not because I realize how true it is. Someone's in bankruptcy. Someone needs personal advice. Someone needs their hand held through the process. I'm not the right person. Go contact Steve Rhodes or you guys, the people in this crowd that can help those people, can hold them through, can give them specific advice. CPAs, lawyers that are in the community. Not me, right? I give inspiration and advice and leadership, I guess, to a community of people who know they can do better and who can help themselves. So in my U versus Debt course, I had this whole module. It was like 2 days planned out about like how to deal with bankruptcy and the pros and cons of debt consolidation. I just scrapped it because I was like, that's not what my core audience needs. It's just going to water down the content. So I started to focus on my core audience. So know exactly who you are targeting. Elite Sadie does a great job with this. If you need any more guidance there. And finally, getting an awesome idea, you need to pick it and ship it. Perfect is the enemy of good. J.D. Roth mumbles that all the time, but it is true. We need to market testing before creation is vastly overrated. Meaning that if you always put off launching your product because you need to do more market testing, in the online world, I think that's vastly overrated. In the offline world, you need to know how many cars are driving by, you need to know how many restaurants are competing. The personal finance space is a very crowded space, but you definitely have the ability to come in and make your mark. So I like to get the idea, I like to brainstorm, but I don't like all this marketing testing crap. I think that we should just get to launch and figure it out because I think you'll learn more from your first launch than you will from years of planning. Going through the process once, even if you sell 0 copies, will teach you more about the process than another year of planning it out. It's my opinion. And of course, we'll get a little foo-foo. You never know until you try. So you really have to go through this process, get it together, and go. Let's move on. Creating the damn thing. I always start with an outline. Most of you guys are writers, so I didn't spend a lot of time on this section because you know how to create. This is a really big project. When you blog, we create, and most of us put it up. Like if you're like me, I create like at 9 in the morning that goes up at 9:15 in the morning. Just like it posts directly with typos and everything. So I'm used to immediate response. Here's my writing. I know right away whether you guys are going to tweet it. I know right away whether it's a like on Facebook. I know right away how many comments it's going to have in the first hour, right? We all know this because we've been through it. So it's really hard to spend 6 months recording a video product and no one gets to see it for 6 months. It's really hard to allocate that creation, that energy, and to be able to do that. So I use what's called the rules of three when I'm creating my outline. It starts with one idea. Like, for example, if you were tasked with giving a speech on launching a product, you would take that one idea and you would divide it into 3 pieces. All right? That could be creating an idea, coming up with an idea, creating the damn thing, and selling some copies, if that were an example we were using. And then from that 3, you break down each of those 3 modules into 9 more pieces. This gives you 9 chapters, 9 modules, and it's just a rule of thumb to help get you into this process. So what's the one problem that you can solve? What are the 3 main parts of that one problem? And then for each of those parts, break them down 3 further. All right? This is how I created almost all my products. Then, of course, 9 is just a guideline. You might have 10 modules or 10 chapters. That's okay. But this helps me guide me along the process. All right? Which format do you choose? We have ebooks, real books, Kindle books, webinars, conference calls, service, written course, video course, podcast forums, message boards, member profiles, email access to yourself. How do you choose what you're going to deliver? This is after we have the outline and we know exactly what problem we can solve. 3 things to keep in mind. First and foremost, obviously, what format is going to best solve the reader's problems? See these guys in the picture, they look like they have a serious problem they're discussing. So what's best going to help this couple solve their problem? So I don't give a crap whether you like video. If this couple listens to audio, listens to the radio, whatever, that's how you need to reach out. So that needs to be your first priority. Now your second priority is what format are you most talented or comfortable with? Like I said earlier, I hate writing with a passion. I want to go into video. So that's me and our little makeshift ghetto studio that we recorded You vs. Dead in. That's what I like. So I believe that format in a daily size bite will help my readers the most, and I like it, so that's why I go with it. If I thought that video wasn't effective, or if I find that out through testing, I'm not going to shoot video, because I'm interested in helping the readers first. Third, what format carries the most perceived value, all right? As you increase the personal access to yourself, you increase the amount of price you can charge. If you want to create an ebook that's on Amazon.com and they never see or hear from you ever, and you deliver it, that's great, but you're not going to be able to charge as much if you do a video course with monthly conference calls and live events once a year. So keep in mind that there's a very real perceived value. Audio is perceived greater than text, video is perceived greater than audio for most people in most niches. So if you want to add value to your product and be able to charge more from a perceived value point, you have to understand how that works. But realize it's also third on the list of priorities. Don't just start doing a video course because you think you'll be able to charge more. That's going to blow up in your face. All right, planning for hell, which is what I call the actual creation period around my household. I think JD, who I saw walk in late, but said he gained 25 pounds or something when writing his book and all this stuff. So I know that this happens to writers a lot. First thing is those who have time make time. Everyone says they don't have time. I say I don't have time. But those who want to make time to prioritize, make time. Gary Vaynerchuk, who was an inspiration of mine when I was getting started, WebXO 2.0 in 2007, he got a question from the audience, and they were like, I work a job, I have a family, I have to come home. And he did a little rant like he did, and he looked up and he said, stop watching fucking Lost. And at that time, I was like, oh my God, I was like, he went there. Like, he talked about Lost. Like, that was like, 2007, that's a big deal. And every time I get into a mode of where I complain or I know that I'm not getting stuff done, that just goes through my head. It's just like, whatever it is, whether it's the X Factor or Dance with the Stars or whatever you want. Like, those who have time, make time. They prioritize the product of content creation. All right? Chunk it down. Obviously, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? We all know this because we're all content creators. Chunk down. We did the rules of threes. We have our module. Go chapter by chapter. Make that a big win every time you get it done, just like paying off debt. All right? Get held accountable. This is really important to me. I had an accountability group with Corbett Barr and Carl Gaida, 2 people that are great friends of mine now. I have products with both of these people. They're partners in businesses with me. We started as an accountability group. Early on, Kelly Whalen and Matt Jabs and I started personal finance blogs together. We held each other accountable in the beginning. That was very, very helpful at that time. So accountability has been one of the only ways that I get any product done is from accountability from friends. So seek out a mastermind group or like-minded people who are interested in creating a product together. and focus ruthlessly on quality. The only thing that gets me through at the end of the day is I know what I produce will be the best on the market in what I do. And I take pride in that. I don't think there's a better debt course except for Financial Peace University because it's proven. And I don't think there's a better guide for selling your crap. And if there is, and you've created it, let me send it to me, I'll read it because I like to improve my own. But I feel that that is the best, and that's what drives me. So I think that if you focus ruthlessly on quality, you can get driven through the slumps in the creation period. All right, we're going to move on to sell your copies. I have to move fast and get some time notifications here, so I apologize, but we need to blaze through this stuff. Sell some copies. So we're getting into marketing and sales. When we do this, we have internal marketing and we have external marketing. And my team and I break it up like that every time we go to launch a product after we've created it. Internal marketing composes of our email list, your sales page, your blog, and your social media, and it's in that order, people. In this order. I used to have it flipped around. I used to go blog, social media, sales page, email list. And I had it almost completely flipped. All right? Again, yesterday, Ramin makes 90% of his income. He launches products like I do off his email list. Amanda from Dailyworth gave an entire talk about how fast their email list is growing, how much money they were able to make through their CPMs in email. It's very important. The more I use it, the more I understand it. Sales page is second priority, blog and social media, so we're going to get all into two of these really quickly. Starting with email lists. I have three primary goals for building lists that convert. Okay? This is the basics. If you have advanced questions, I'll do my best to answer them in the Q&A. You have to give a specific reason for people to subscribe. I don't do this on Man vs. Debt, so you can call me a hypocrite, but that's an improvement that we're making. We do it with the courses. I just need to do this with Man vs. Debt as well. You have to give them a specific reason. Justin Permick said yesterday that no one subscribes for updates and notifications. No one cares. Give them a reason why they should subscribe. You need to keep them warm with amazing content. I also do a terrible job at this. Great speech I'm giving, right? But this is an area that I can really improve in. You need to keep them warm once a week, once every 2 weeks. You need to tell them what's going to happen and deliver on time. And if you just get people on your email list and they sit there until you launch a product, you're going to notice that it doesn't convert very well. So again, very basic. And then as you get advanced, we want to segment based on interest. We have different lists now for the Man vs. Debt list, Man vs. Debt list who has clicked on more than 10 items in the past 6 months, You vs. Debt list, You vs. Debt Pioneers who are also in fall 2011, You vs. Debt Pioneers who aren't in fall 2011, 2011 members who are actually participating, 2011 members who haven't signed up for the course but bought the course. So we segment now. And I was like, what are those 5 people thinking? They just paid money for my course and they don't even register they're using it. But we need to know, right? If you don't know, you can't help them. You can't reach out to them. You can't understand why it's happening. Email strategy. Again, I only have time for the overview, but I want to get across this. This is how we coordinated the You vs. Debt launch. Your basic strategy is you have to give away something like I said. We gave away 4 lessons for You vs. Debt the first week one. We gave away days 1, 2, 4, and 5, I think. Essentially the first week. Anybody watch Tim Ferriss launch the 4-Hour Body online, the book? If you went to any website that was tech-based or health-based that week he launched, he had a free chapter on 5 different sites. You could read literally 5 or 6 chapters of the book if you just went around the web to Gizmodo and Lifehacker and all these different posts. But it doesn't matter. We estimate that we could probably give away half of You vs. Debt for free, and the majority of people would still buy. And it probably actually increased the amount of people that would buy. But the majority of people that went through that content would still buy. So this is one strategy that we use. We sent out free content. We were proud of the videos. We were proud of the content. Next, we share our USP as a unique selling thank you, unique selling proposition. And that was for us that we're taking an emotional way. That logic of love is not alone. That you need accountability. That you need a group going through. That we're not just going to teach the mathematics. That we're going to teach the emotion. That we're going to rely on that. Okay, that's my USP for You vs. Debt. That's what I do different than a lot of people. So we had 2 emails that went out. 10 days before and 6 days before that talked about the USP. Why should you care? And again, this is to a You vs. Debt list. So these are people that have opted in after watching 3 lessons that we gave away on Man vs. Debt and on You vs. Debt. Then we connected on an emotional, personal level. I shared 2 stories that I've never shared online, and that are the 2 most probably emotional, personal stories that I have, and it was the best response rate I've ever had to any email. And I'll share one of those briefly today. Has anyone been to New Zealand? Great. Have you guys been to Milford Sound? All right? So you know in Milford Sound, sorry, this is like for 4 people. You guys just chill there. You know in Milford Sound, when you go from whatever town that is, that's like 2.5 hours away, and you go to the Sound, right? Like that drive. You go through mountains, and you go through this big, huge cave, and you come out on the other side, there's like light streaming down. There's 2 huge mountains, and you're driving in between them, and it was raining, so there's waterfalls, literally hundreds of waterfalls every 10 feet that are coming down. It's the most beautiful place in the world, I'm convinced. I've not been to all the world, but I'm convinced that's the most beautiful place in the world. So we go, we see Milford Sound. We're camping in a tent to save money. The tent doesn't work right, and we're flooded overnight before we go to Milford Sound. So I'm here, Courtney's here, Millie's here, like on top of the blankets, and Courtney and I are sleeping in the water. So we didn't have a really good night, to put it that way. But we got to see Milford Sound. It was great. It was fantastic. We're driving back down this road, and you know, we're worn out and probably bickering and fighting between Courtney and I. And she says, you know, just so bummed that we're not taking any pictures. A lot of you guys know my wife likes photography. So I said, you know, honey, you got to tell me if you want to pull over and take pictures. Like, I just can't read your mind, right? I just don't know when to take pictures. Just tell me. So she is, of course, like, all right, just pull over. So I do, a little bit too far, a little bit too cocky. Pulled over, nothing happened. She got out, she took some pictures, she got back in. And as I started to pull away from where I pulled over, of course on the wrong side of the road, which is what I blame it for, because it's hard to pull over on the left side of the road. But as I start to go, my front 2 wheels are fine, my back right wheel is fine, but my back left wheel is not fine. It's off the road, off into the ditch. So we slide like this, and we go down into some trees that are down about 5 foot down this bank. And I'm sitting here against the trees, and I look through the trees, and they're not that big. They're like this big, but there's a bunch of them. And I see, you know, nothing, a mountain. So we're stuck between our car, a couple small trees, and a mountainside looking down. So I'm 250 at the time, and weight. So I'm like, the only thing going through my head is, oh my God, don't move. You know, don't shift 250 pounds. Like, I weigh more than the rest of the stuff in the car. So I was like, don't shift my weight. So I'm like, all right, Courtney, you know, get Millie, get out of the car. Millie's 1.5 at the time. So Courtney crawls back in the back, grabs Millie, you know, goes against gravity, about a 45-degree angle, gets out, gets onto the road. So then I thought for a brief second about putting it in the drive and getting it out, right? Like just trying to gun it and get it. But I decided against that, and I caught out of the car. And there's much more to this story that I shared in an email, but the point of it was we were 2 hours away from a tow truck, 2 hours away from the cops who had to come to block the mountain road because it was around a bend. We ended up spending 2 days. There's only one place you could stay at Milford Sound, and it was completely booked. We ended up sleeping in bunk beds with the staff. True, in a twin bed, all 3 of us. And one guy like basically slept with another guy so that we could have a bunk bed. Tow truck guy drives 2.5 hours overtime after hours to get to it, spends an hour with me ripping the car out of the trees, puts on his tow truck, drives another 2.5 hours back and says, meet me in the morning and we'll talk about the price. So, but I took Millie. I took my secret weapon. So I walked in with Millie. So it ended up being about $800 or $900 in cash. And the whole point of this long story was that we didn't care. We had a $5,000 emergency fund. We had no consumer debt at that point. And even though we were camping to save a few dollars a night, we had an emergency fund. And that was the first time we really got to use it. So I was comparing the original story I told this audience to the second story and just saying, like, as crappy as these 2 days were, financial issues did not add a single amount of stress. Not one time did I think about financial issues during this 2-day ordeal. Not one time during the wreck. And we actually drove that car without its bumper and with a completely scraped side another 2 weeks around the South Island of New Zealand before driving it back off at the rental car place. That was a fun conversation. All right. The next email, after I established that emotional connection, which you need to do with your audience, is you have a doors are open email. That's what I call it. Hey, the product's open, come buy it. And that's what I actually used to say. Hey, my product's open, I'm a good person, please come support me. All right? That's obviously not the method I'm going to suggest to you. You want to specifically say why you're solving the problem, and you want to give them a reason why they should buy now and not wait till next year, not wait till next week, not wait till the end of the registration period. All right? A compelling reason why they should buy now, and excitement and confidence about the product. Is the 2 things that I really think about when I do a doors are open. On a You Versus Debt, we had an open and close, so we had a registration period. You may or might not do that on your first product, but that's what we did. So we did a live event. It's a video course. I like to consider myself personable, so we wanted to do a live webinar to get people to help people say, come chat with me one-on-one if you don't believe, like if you're on the fence about this. So we did that. It converted very well. The webinar, people who came to the webinar who were on the fence, converted very well into the course. We're very excited about the course, which is the goal. If you're not going to do a live event, you want to deliver your best value here. I strongly believe that. So you open your course, and in the next few days, you're like, wham! Like, here is really how I can solve it. And I don't think you should be scared of giving away your best content. If you have 9 chapters, give away your best one here. Really show people that you can help them, that you can help solve that problem. Then we have the doors are closing. So for us, that was at the end of the week. Registration's closing. Class has to start on Monday of next week. And the style that I used this time when the doors are closing, as I said, and some of you might have saw it, essentially I really, really want you to buy. Like, I really, really want you to be part of this course. I'm not going to lie. I want you to take action. I want you to be part of this course with me. It's also a good spot to overcome objections. What are your common questions that you've been getting? And another tip I do is I share excitement from the people who have already bought. So in the forums, when people bought my course, they came in and one of the forum questions is, what's the #1 thing you're most excited about? And then I use those answers to, in the emails, to say, like, here are the people that are in the course, real people, real names, and here's what they're saying they're excited about. So it shows people that there's a community, that there's excitement, that they can join other members, they can get accountability, all of the things that I want to convey. I convey in this last email. All right? That's a very, very basic email strategy, kind of sandwiched in with a story, but we got to move on here. So sales-based strategy is very similar. And again, I want to cover the basics for you, for those of you that are interested in taking notes. Headlines matter a lot, a lot. This headline says, are you tired of your finances holding you back from the life you desire? We had another headline we tested. We tested 4. Are you tired of your finances holding you back from the life you deserve? All right? We started with deserve. Anyone want to guess what changing one word to do our conversion rates? About 190%. The word desire sold twice as well as the word deserved. And it's my fault. I was an idiot. I had just written a big post about how you deserve nothing and you should be grateful and blessed. Like, you don't deserve anything. And yet I let that slip. I let that deserve slip. And when I saw it, I was telling somebody who was working with me, I was like, I can't say that. Like, that's just terrible. I don't even know why I did it. So let's just change it to desire and get on with it, right? I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I knew I didn't want to say deserve. So we split tested using Optimizely. For those of you that are tools junkies, Optimizely is what we use. Split tested just the headline, and it sold 190% better than deserve. So there's no joke that this first part of the page is absolutely crucial to capturing the reader's attention. The more I launch, the more I understand how this works. Moving on. Maybe. Backward. Connect with the reader. So you saw a picture of Courtney and I right at the beginning. And I also put a video here right under that. And I said, watch the video to learn more about how we turn things around. All right? This video was professionally shot, professionally edited, and it shows a little bit about our story. So again, I'm trying to connect with people that are coming to the website. What makes this different? The next section of my sales page was the USP. Okay? This is not rocket science. You know, obviously, we're using the same tactics over and over again. But I tell them right there how you versus debt is different. All right? Right after I connect with them. The benefits. So there's benefits and then there's features of a course or a product or an ebook. You always want to lead with benefits over features. So I was really proud of these videos. I want to say, look, you get all these awesome videos. Look how cool they are. Look how cool I am. Look how well they're edited. Look at the text that comes on the screen. There's a green screen so we can change the background for you. I wanted to say all that, but no one gives a crap that wants to get out of debt. No one cares about my videos and how cool they are. You guys do, but you guys don't buy my stuff. All right? So, like, I wanted to convey, these videos are awesome, but frame it from a benefit. So what's the benefit of short daily videos? The benefit is you can take back control of your financial life in just 15 to 20 minutes per day. The daily videos will be divided into blah, blah, blah. Okay? So I framed it as a benefit while still showing off the videos. Worksheets. Look how cool those worksheets look. Seriously. So I said, stay on track and record your progress with daily worksheets, because that's the benefit. The benefit is not that the worksheets look cool. The benefit is that they'll be able to track and record their progress. All right? It's really easy when you get started to lead with features. This is what you get. I'm proud of it. Here, buy it. But it's much, much more difficult to lead with benefits, but it's much more rewarding from my experience. Same time you want to put features, don't mind that little sketch thing. That was a little error. But I do use Sketch to take screenshots of pictures. So there you go. Tools. Right here, we go into the features. So you will cover everything you need to reclaim your freedom. Even the headline is still benefit-focused, right? Reclaim your freedom. But we broke down week 1, week 2, week 3, and if you click on those boxes, they break down and they show you exactly what you're going to get in the course, okay? So you do take pride in listing your features, but only after you've covered the benefits first. And even when you list the features, consider framing it as, what's the benefit to the reader? Why would the reader care about this? It's the questions I try to ask myself. Moving on. Who's it for and who's it not for? I actually knew this is a great tip, put it down, and looked through my sales pages and realized I've never done it before. So once again, I borrowed this from Ramid's Find Your First Profitable Idea, which is his smaller guide for the Earn 1K series. Ramid and Chris Gillenbo, both, if you're looking for models, do a great job of outlining who's this for and who's it not for. And they're very clear. So that's a snippet of Ramid doing just that on one of his sales pages. Testimonials. Make them real, make them short, and make them benefit-focused, and include a picture, which I don't have in the bullet point, but include a picture. Something very basic like this. Over the last 4 months, I've paid off my credit cards, and last week I paid off my car. It's as if I got a raise of $1,000 a month. Guess where this appears on my sales page? Right before I mention the price. Right before I mention the price. It's as if I saved $1,000 a month. So she mentions price. I think best for that. She allows me to use it. I put that up right before I mention the price on the U versus Debt course. Bonuses and special features. And this is from Sell Your Crap. And for Sell Your Crap, I interviewed 11 people that were just in the niche, that were popular bloggers, about the different ways to sell their crap or travel or anything that people that were selling their crap may be interested in as bonus material, completely free. I obviously leveraged the big names as I can, Leo, Chris, JD, all huge names in the blogosphere, and this was only my second product, so I want to leverage off of these people as best as I can. Obviously, I asked all these people to be able to use them in it, and they're helping me out in my product. My first book, Automate Your Finances, on this thing, I approached Leo Babauta out of the blue without ever having contact with him. Said, hey, I'm going to write an awesome personal finance book about simplifying and automating your finances. I'd like to partner with you. Essentially, I'll write it all. All you have to do is put your name on it and approve it and fill in some parts that I'll leave for you to fill in. And he actually said yes. Now, that was really cool for me because I had never launched a product before, and here I am partnering with one of the biggest bloggers online at the time. That didn't actually come to fruition for a lot of reasons, but he had to back out, but he did write the foreword. He did promote it on Zen Habits, which sold like 300 copies the first day, just from Leo promoting it on Zen Habits. And that was a great friendship, and now Leo and I are good friends, and I try to help him, and he tries to help me in everything we launch. So that initiation of, here's someone that I can go out and get, here's someone that I can, that has like-minded, that we can partner together, is a spirit that I want to instill in you. That look for opportunities to work with other people, look for opportunities to bring in experts, look for opportunities to add value to your customers. All right, clear, tangible guarantee. Sell your crap. If you don't sell $100 worth of your stuff, I will give you your money back. This is my guarantee. My refund rate is less than 0.5%. Less than 0.5%. And if anyone chargebacks on their credit card or issues a refund from PayPal, I have no control, right? We all know that, or people that sell stuff know that. PayPal is very buyer focused. So less than 0.5% refund rate. And I tell them, no questions asked. If you don't make $100 off this $47 guide, I will give you your money back. All right? Make your guarantee specific and tangible, and don't be scared to offer something great. You versus Debt. If you go through all 30 challenges, I will refund your money and send you a $97 Amazon gift card. It's my guarantee for that. No one will do it. No one will do it. But I wanted to put that out there because that's how much I believe in it. If you go through the course, I know they'll get results. Lastly, ask for the sale. You think that red buy now buttons are spammy or whatever, they work. And if you do it in a genuine way and you're selling a genuine product, there's nothing wrong with saying, I want you to buy. There's nothing wrong with using a big button. This is the Sell Your Crap button I use. There's nothing wrong with saying, like, I really want you to be a part of this. You have to ask for the sale at the very end. All right, blog, social media, the lapping up internal. And this stuff is all worthless, so I lumped it into one and kind of sold out here. Use the same framework as emails. Whenever you post in your blog, use the same framework you're going to use in an email series. And I want you guys to understand how much I don't focus on this now. But I do make my headlines linkable. Some of you are scared to link to my sales page because you think it's spammy or you think your readers won't like it or whatever. But if I write a post on Man vs. Debt and I say, oh my God, here is You versus Debt, I'm so proud, a lot of you will link to that. That's how it works online. So some people won't be able to link to your sales page even if it's the best product ever created. But they will share a tweet, they will share your blog post if you make it linkable. So don't put like, if you're going to use a spammy headline, use that on your sales page, not your blog post is what I'm saying. You know, like, make your blog post friendly and understand that some people won't support your sales page no matter what you do, even if it's genuine. All right, so that's my one big tip for blogging social media. And the last one is screw the trolls. Okay? There's always going to be trolls. There's always going to be a part of your audience that thinks you're selling out. There's always going to be a part of your audience that negatively comments. There's always going to be people that will be like, well, you're in debt. How are you selling a debt product? And I'm like, well, I still have student loans. Everyone know that? I still have student loans. I'm running You versus Debt. It's on my site. It's the most clicked link my finances. Everyone can see it. I never hide from it. But I don't think that the remaining student loans we have keeps me from helping change people's lives. I don't think it does. I don't think it prevents it. So there's always people that are going to look for that. And if you let those people stop you, you'll never do anything. All right? So screw the trolls in this process is how I view it. External marketing. We're on the home stretch here. Affiliates, non-affiliate network, paid traffic or platforms, and old school media. Old school media being radio, TV, print, the stuff I know nothing about. So I'm not going to be talking about old school media, but I want you to know it's there. Some of you are actually leveraging it much better than I am. Paid traffic and platforms would be Facebook, Google, paying for traffic from Google and Facebook, using a platform like Amazon, Mike Piper in the audience. Mike leverages his entire, well, not his entire, but big part of his business off of Amazon. I consider that a paid platform because Amazon is taking part of the money and he's relying on Amazon. But those avenues are out there if you want to. I'm going to concentrate on affiliates and non-affiliates and how I reach out to my network in order to launch a product. With affiliates, 90% of affiliates sell nothing. Right? 90% of affiliates will sell nothing for you. Understand that. Something people don't tell you when you get started. You want to find your key people and invest in them. Now, for you versus debt, raise your hand if you got an email from me from you versus debt in some way, telling you about the product or anything. Look around. Look around. Was at least keep your hands up if at least the first 2 sentences were personal. Keep your hands up. They're all personal. I wrote 237 emails. The majority of it was copy and pasted. But the first 2 or 3 sentences were personal. 237 emails. It took me about 14 hours over 2 days. Actually, it was longer than 2 days, but that's because I procrastinated. But I reached out. We went to Wiseberry Top 100, as does most of the spammy payday lending people. And I got all of your names because I don't remember all of you off the top of my head. I remember a lot of you. Then we go back and we see who supported Sell Your Crap, who supported Unautomated Finance, who do I know? I go to the forums that I'm a part of. I go to all these different resources and I think, I'm proud of this, I want to get it out. And we formulate a list, a written plan, which is going to be down here in this 4th bullet point. We formulate a written plan on how to approach you guys. I consider most of you friends, but I still formulate a written plan on how I approach you when I go to coordinate a launch. I know some of you aren't interested in only 72, and I know some of you might be. And I try to make those lists and we tag you in a software. To be honest, like your names are in a software and we tag you because the management of that relationship is important to me. The management and making sure I stay in contact with you is important to me. Be concise, casual, and respectful. Most of you know all my emails are casual. Like I'll copy and paste all the crap, all the bullet points of what the course is and all that stuff. But I'm usually pretty casual. And this happens with even big people. I've never talked to Brett McKay from The Art of Manliness. We've been in the same circles, but we've never talked. Friday at midnight, I launched Monday morning. Friday at midnight, I send an email to Brett, and I say, Brett, we've never met in person, and this might be a little bold, but if I get you a guest post in the next 24 hours, will you publish it Monday morning? That was my guest post. Someone I'd never met that runs Automatis, obviously a well-respected blog. And on Saturday, he emailed me back, and he's like, yeah, I'd love to run a guest post from you. Can you send it over to me in the next few hours? So, and if I would have sent Brett, like, hi, Brett, my name is Adam Baker, and I run the blog manversusdebt.com, period, space. This is my product, You versus Debt. I really think it's going to help people, then bullet point, like, here's what you get. He would have never read it, first of all, and if he would have read it, he would have thought less of me and probably not responded. All right? But because I treated him just like any of you that I would treat, he immediately could have said yes or no, and there would have been no hard feelings. If he was like, no, I'm sorry, can't do this, maybe we'll talk later, I don't care. I'm good with that. So you want to approach it casual, concise, and respectful. I never expected Brett to post it, but I was respectful to him. All right. Tools. eJunkie, one-shot credit, Fusionsoft. I've used all of these. eJunkie is very good for basic. If you're just going to launch an ebook, you're just going to launch something to get started, use eJunkie. And Fusionsoft is what I use now, if you have that question. It's complicated. I'm not sure it's the best solution. I'm still exploring, but I just wanted to put those tools. We got some time, we got some time issues. So non-affiliate, plant seeds way before you need them. Deliver value, support pet projects. J.D. Roth and Jim Wang had a podcast when I was getting started online. Many of you may remember, like a Blog Talk Radio, right, J.D.? I don't know. And no one was coming, essentially. I was the only one who called for the first 6 episodes. 6 episodes. I was the only person that picked up the phone and called their show. And so when it came time, when JD was hiring staff writers, and he had already picked the 5 staff writers he was going to try out, and I sent him an email that said, JD, I know you've already picked your 5 candidates, but I'd really like to be considered for this. Is there any way you can open up and consider more candidates? It was a surprise to me, but looking back, it was no surprise that he opened up more candidates in order to let me in. I eventually got the staff writing gig, as most of you know, And writing for JD Roth for a year changed my life both as a writer and as a blog. So supporting pet projects works. I did the same thing with Wisebrain. Same thing. They had a podcast that wasn't doing well, and I called into their show. Like the same thing. It's not that hard. Support pet projects. Be concise, casual, and respectful. That was supposed to be ironic that I put the same bullet point in the same place, but we don't have time. Create a written plan. Create a written plan we've already talked about. Lastly, all right, you've got your idea. You've created the damn thing. You've gone and launched it, and it failed or it did well, and you're awesome. We need to test. All right? We need to gather data, and we need to test. This is called a basic sales funnel. This is what my team uses on our whiteboard in my office when we launch. Average number of readers that read your blog posts or your email subscriptions go at the top. People, you should be writing this down if you're interested in launching. This is really, really cool. Add under that views on the post or open emails. And over here goes the percentage of the people that opened your email. Next, who clicks to the sales page? Who clicks from your email? Who clicks from your blog? There's a percentage there. Percentage of people that go and click to your blog. Clicks to your shopping cart. Okay, you got your sales page, you hit it, you go to your shopping cart. There's a percentage that clicks to your shopping cart. You need to track it. You need to write it down. You need to record it. Actually purchases. You'd be surprised at how many people go to your shopping cart and don't purchase. And you wouldn't be surprised if you don't do this, but when you do this, you will be surprised. Who actually purchases, and then finally who gives feedback, who actually reads the thing and writes you. That number would be really low, unfortunately. So you can look at this at the end of the thing and go, wow, I got a bunch of people going to my sales page, a bunch of people clicking on the shopping cart, and no one's buying. No one's buying. Everyone's leaving. You don't know that unless you track. And then you can look at your shopping cart and be like, well, why does my shopping cart suck so bad? You can evaluate it and you can fix the problem. But if you don't track and you don't know, you launch a product, you have no sales. The next product you launch, you're going to have no sales because you don't know how to improve. Your life-changing product, we've talked about, you have to create an awesome idea. You have to create the damn thing and you have to sell some copies. Those are the three major parts that you want to look at when you're going through it. My final thought. Blog posts are not enough. Blog posts alone are not enough for our community. We owe our readers more. We owe it to our readers to invest our time, our energy, and our passion into creating products, books, and courses that will radically change the way they handle the finances. Yes, let's blog. Let's reach out to people. Let's communicate in that way. But I really feel deep down that reallocating some of our blogging time to the creation of outstanding books and products is the best way to really radically change someone's life. The only thing that's left to do is to collectively get off our asses and do the work that needs to be done. Thanks for the time, guys.